Good evening. Good evening. Michael McDonough here, principal of Bel Air High School. Thank you for joining us this evening, coming to you from inside of Bel Air High School in the conference room. And I'm looking forward to spending a little bit of time with you this evening just to offer some updates around how school is going to begin. So my goals tonight are to take care of a little bit of business, give you a few updates on a couple of upcoming pieces, take you through a number of the resources that we do have available, just to make sure you know where those are. We're going to answer questions through the evening. We'll have two different spots where we can take some questions. So I think the Q&A should be open on the live event if you want to submit those. I do have someone helping with that. We won't get to all of them tonight. What we've done in the past has been able to create an FAQ after the meeting that then we do post for our families. But I'll take you through some of the resources, and then I will also take you through a little bit of what the daily life will look like in this virtual setting as we begin school Tuesday, September 8th. And then most importantly, probably, and what's on a lot of people's mind is, what do I do Tuesday, September 8th that morning? So we're going to make sure that you're ready to go. Finally, I'll share a few things that I need from you while we're in this, and then also some commitments from me and the school as we move forward. But otherwise, if you've got questions or anything like that, feel free to put those in the Q&A section over there, I think the chat bar. What I will say to start off with is, first of all, thank you for carving out a little bit of time with me. This is definitely an atypical start to the school year. I can remember coming back for many of you who are returning to Bel Air last March as we launched into HISD at home and virtual setting. And as I looked at my notes earlier today, it was through, I think at that time, the second week of April, and we were optimistic we would be back after that. And of course, as this has all unfolded, we've learned a lot and had to be very patient as many things have been delayed and many things, all of our lives have definitely been impacted. And I do want to say to start is that I hope that you are safe, that the kids that are students are safe, and that those you care about are both safe and healthy. And I do wish that for everyone. The other piece I would just tell you is that while we are not able to, and this will be my 29th year in education, my 9th year as the principal at Bel Air High School, 17th year as a principal in HISD, and in all those years, this will be the first start to a school year like this. I know a few years ago for Hurricane Harvey, all schools were disrupted. That was a little bit different of an experience than what we are in right now, of course. But this is very different, but we will be starting school and we'll start school together. And while we are not physically here in the same place, sharing this space at 5100 Maple, there's many things that we will continue to do together, though. And so we're going to start to share some of that with you this evening. Let me take you through, I'm going to start with a couple of business items. And so I'm just going to share some of these with you just real quick. Let me make sure. And we are running this as a live event, so we may run into a few technical glitches. So I appreciate your patience as we do that and make our way. It's been an eventful 2 weeks. Of course, our teachers have been hard at work. Really very proud of the learning that they committed to do this summer, and then the 2 weeks how they spent it. And of course, we had 2 days that we lost last week. Thankfully, Hurricane Laura did not come to Houston area, to the greater Houston area, but it was a disruption as well. And probably seems a little typical for everything that we've endured this year. But let me take you through just a few pieces of information. One is for our seniors, and we've gotten a lot of requests about this, and we've just gotten these dates confirmed. We know that many seniors want to make sure they get their cap and gown picture taken to be a part of the senior yearbook for sure, but we had to have a virtual graduation last year, and those senior pictures are what we were able to use. Those cap and gown pics are what we were able to use in the virtual graduation. So even more reason to make sure that our kids get those taken. We're going to be doing appointments, and we'll get this out Friday in our e-news. We hope to get it out this Friday in our e-news, but there'll be a process where you can sign up for an appointment, and that'll be September 24th and 25th. We imagine that this will be in the multi-purpose room. You'll come up, you'll check in, you'll have to go through our safety protocols. You'll have to have a mask. Because we're doing it by appointment, we can keep social distancing. If you don't have a mask, we'll provide one for you, temperature check, all of those different precautions. You'll come in, get situated for your cap and gown picture, get it taken, and then we'll get you right back out a different exit. But we'll be able to move, we believe in those 2 days, a huge number of our seniors through. So we know that a lot of you are anxious about that and want to make sure that gets done, because you are going to graduate in about 10 months. Or even less, but we want to make sure that you're all set for that. Next thing is we continue to get items situated and out to our kiddos. One is the freshman textbook pickup, and that is Friday, September 4th is what we're looking at for our freshmen. Now, this is a change, and we don't like to do this, but we are having to do this. This past Friday in our Cardinal e-News, we put out that textbook pickup for all students would be Friday, September 4th. And I think that was a little ambitious to be able to handle the entire student body. While most of our textbooks are electronic, we do still have a lot of them in our foreign languages, AP/IB classes, but then most importantly for our freshmen, there is if you're in pre-AP World Geography, there is a book for you, and then a few languages. But what we're going to have on our website very soon is a list of, if you're in this course, you need a textbook. And if you don't see your course listed, you don't need to come and pick up a textbook. That's way everybody knows kind of whether or not they need to come to campus. But right now, the freshmen will be this Friday from 9 to noon and from 1 to 3. And if you just come down Maple Street, like you did when you picked up your laptop, and you go a little bit further down toward our batting cages, we'll be able to take care of you. We'll have signage and all of that, but we'll make sure that on our website, we'll get that out to all of our freshmen so that you know what books you need to get. But if you are in pre-AP World Geography, we know that you've got a textbook for sure. Textbook pickup for grades 10, 11, and 12 will be next week in the afternoons each day, and we will put out that schedule this Friday in our Cardinal e-News. So that's another way that you can get that information. Cardinal Camp was a little bit different. Of course, this year we did our orientation and we did it virtually. If you did not already, and we had a lot, I think 300 or 400 already of our freshmen that have already completed the course, but you can access this off of our website, and it is Welcome to Cardinal Camp. It is 11 stops that you make. They include a session. Stop 1 is an opening session with me. Short video, and then it goes through where you get to meet your counselor, you get to meet your assistant principal, find out some different ways to log into your HISD email, which is very important, as well as set up your profile pic on your Microsoft Teams account. Also, as we move through all the different pieces here, you can see that there's 11 different stops ending with a trivia quiz. And so that's going to be helpful, where it's a 20-question quiz where you can find out what you learned about Bel Air High School during the orientation, and then just general trivia. You'll get a certificate at the end of that you can submit to your English teacher as a freshman, and you'll get extra credit. So an opportunity there. And if you have not fulfilled your full registration and enrollment, you can still engage in this course. You don't have to be registered into Bel Air High School to take part in the course, so you can still be a part of that. So that's something exciting. Now let's get to some other business. All right, so I'm going to give you a few seconds here. What do you see in this picture? Hopefully you see 2 large elephants, and those are a couple elephants in the room. All right, so let me really impress upon this point, the elephants that are in the room during this virtual setting. What's really important for you to know is that unlike last spring, in the fall, we do have both attendance and grades. Both of those are counting this year. And so what's really important is there's accountability. There's accountability always for the teachers, for myself as the principal, my entire team. But now we need to make sure that accountability continues and it extends to students. We were making our way and figuring things out as a district last spring, and worked with you, and we gave a lot of grace as a district. And I think that was the right decision to make. We didn't know what was coming around the corner. And I think we made the right choice in terms of your grades not being able to be lowered. But this is a new school year. And so this school year, your grades do count. and they count from the first day of school. And your attendance counts. It counts in an incredible way because you're in high school. Now, those of you in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, you understand you have to be in class a certain number of times. Otherwise, you get one of those NGs on your report card, which means you don't get credit for the class. And freshmen, you'll learn more about this as we orient you more through your freshman classes this fall. But what you need to know is that attendance does count. You need to show up. Now, when I go through the daily life, I'm going to tell you and show you a little bit and explain the different ways that you can be marked present each day. All right. But your grades, those count just like any other time. So if you've got homework or quizzes or tests or projects or papers or anything like that, all of that will be graded. All of that will be assessed, put in the grade book, recorded. We are in a new portal. GradeSpeed is no longer being used by HISD. It's HISD Connect. The parents receive their access codes to join through the portal or create their accounts. Students, your accounts, you'll also have an account. You don't need an access code because you'll just log in using your regular login that you would use on your laptop, but yours will will activate Tuesday, September 8th. Why there's a delay, I don't really know, but that's when it'll activate, is the September 8th. So let's talk a little bit about what attendance is going to look like in terms of the daily life. And so as I go through the daily life and some of the resources, I'll explain to you how you're marked present because it's very important. So this is our website here, bellaire.org, where you can always start from. It's a great place to get information. Now, if you look right down here, or let me click and go to, you can see my page here. When you're on our website, you can go right down here to BHS Distance Learning website. Now, we've created this as a separate location while we're in a virtual setting. And if you want to come directly or bookmark the address, it is distancelearningbhs.com. Now, this is a separate website that we created while we're in this virtual setting. It's an extension, again, of the one that we had in place last spring. And so many of you are familiar with it. Of course, we've got it updated now. But for everybody else, this is a place while we're virtual where you can come and get information. We wanted to have one place so you didn't have to dig around on our normal website, because that we have to keep consistent with any of the updates, of course, that are happening, but then also make sure that it's ready when we transition back onto campus. So this is while we're in the distance site. So let me scroll down and just take you through a little bit of what the daily schedule is going to look like. So the virtual class schedule, while we normally run 7 periods a day, it's going to be a little bit different while we're in this virtual setting. Where we're going to run an A day and a B day. So it's similar to a block schedule. Many of you have been a part of that in middle school, or maybe it's some other high schools that you've attended, but this is new for Bellaire, but we are using this in our virtual session. So on an A day, which will be periods 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so we will run what is called a live session. I'll give you a little bit more detail about that here in just a moment. But these run for 50 minutes. Now that's the normal amount of time of any of our class periods while we're on campus. So we have an A day with periods 1, 2, 3, and 4. There is a 10-minute break between each of those classes for you to jump up if you need to go take care of a younger sibling, go to the bathroom, get a snack, anything like that. You've got that, but you're expected to be back in class for that next session. On B day, we will have the same periods, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, and then at 11:30 I'll talk about in a second, but that is periods 5, 6, and 7. And then we have this extra period, which is called an intervention enrichment. It could also be an extension period. So this is when teachers may pull you together for tutorials, for different interventions. If you're getting any other supports, it may be where a teacher extends a lab. So if they need to say, you know what, I'm going to borrow a little bit of time. I need you to come and finish this chemistry lab. Or it's an enrichment. Our AP or IB teachers may use some of this to pull you back together to reinforce a lesson or to add something to it. So this is a dedicated time that we'll use. It'll be flexible and it could be very asynchronous at times. And I'll explain what that means here in just a moment, but it's a little bit of a flex time that we've got. Everybody will be accounted for and you'll have some different things happening, whether you're working on something asynchronously or you're working directly with a teacher. But each of these are 50-minute blocks. So let's talk about what happens in a live session. Okay, so in that 50-minute block, there are 2 different types of learning that can happen. There's something called synchronous learning and asynchronous learning. Synchronous learning is probably what we're used to in terms of the teacher of direct instruction. So that's happening, everybody's synchronized and doing the same thing at the same time. Asynchronous learning can be viewed in a few different ways. It's happening where not everybody is doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. Or they may be doing it independently, where, like, for example, if a teacher is in Microsoft Teams, which is what we'll use for all of our meeting times, when they do those live sessions, they may break the students off into what are called channels or into breakout rooms, where they'll go and work in a smaller group and have that time together and then come back into the live session. So that could be considered asynchronous learning. So that's happening all within that 50-minute period. So again, you may have 10 minutes of direct instruction, break off into groups for maybe 20 minutes, come back for another 10 minutes to kind of wrap it up, and then maybe 5 or 10 minutes to close it out, and make sure if there's any questions that they have or an exit ticket or anything like that, some kind of formative assessment for the teacher to know how well the students have comprehended it. You may also have, that may be what first period looks like. You may get to second period and the teacher that day uses direct instruction for all 50 minutes. So let's say it's something that's, a direct lab that they want to simulate and take you through. Maybe it's 45 minutes or anything. So what I want to share is, while the best practices that we understand that we've learned about are that there's about 30% of the time is spent in synchronous and 70% in asynchronous. So that would be like 15 minutes synchronous and 35 minutes asynchronous within a 50-minute period. It really will depend each day. It will depend on the subject area, and it'll depend on the teacher. You may have, again, 45 minutes of synchronous. You may have 10 minutes of synchronous. It could be different depending on what's happening that day. But I want parents and students to know that it's going to look a little bit different. You may see your kid interacting or being very quiet while they're watching a direct instruction, and then interacting for 20 minutes in a smaller group, and then going back in and being quiet. So it could look a little bit different during that time as we move through those live sessions. But those will be each morning for 50 minutes. Students, this is the easiest way for you to be counted present, is to come to the live session. Okay, if you come to the live session, you will be counted present. And so that preserves you so that you can earn credit in the class. And of course, by coming to the class, you're going to be up to date on the learning that's happening. You're going to be up to date on the assignments, and you're going to likely have a better outcome in your class in terms of achievement. However, we do know at the same time that different things happen at home. Some kids are sharing devices. Some kids may just have different situations that they're dealing with. So all of the sessions in the Teams event that the teacher leads, so those live sessions, will be recorded. Each one of them will be recorded, and then they'll be stored on the hub so that kids can access those. And so I'll talk about that as I go a little bit further through the day. We have from 12:20 to 1:20 what is called Cardinal Hour, which is a normal thing that we have on campus during that hour. Among the things that would happen if you were on campus that would be where tutorials were. It's where very many of our clubs would meet. It's where kids would eat lunch as well. There's just a lot of different things that happen normally during Cardinal Hour. So we will continue that on our schedule here. And in that time is meant to be time to be able to get something to eat, take care of anything that you may need to do around the house, catch up on anything, just to get ready. Now, it's incredibly important for us to make sure that our clubs continue to be they always are, but continue to be a strong element of the culture here at Bel Air. And so that is something. We have a club jamboree for the freshmen on Friday, but it's going to be something. You'll see club meetings that continue to happen. We've developed an electronic bulletin board where flyers will be posted. You used to be able to see them just around campus, but we'll have an electronic bulletin board so you'll be able to keep up and probably know a little bit more about what's happening even more. But you'll find out about that when we get to September 8th. So that'll happen during Cardinal Hour. So now let's get to the afternoon, because I think the morning is pretty self-explanatory. 1 through 4 on A day, 5 through 7 on B day. One question, though, that I know will come up is, does it just alternate back and forth? Yes. So it goes A day, B day, A day, B day. If Friday is on that week, then it's A day. The next Monday is B day. So it just continues to go alternate back and forth. Some blocks do it in different ways, where just the Friday alternates. Right now, our plan is that it just continues to alternate through the time we're in a virtual setting. So now we move to the afternoon. It's after Cardinal Hour from 1:20 to 2:10. So that's 50 minutes every day of the week. All of our teachers will have office hours, which means that they are available. They may contact you, or you may contact them through Remind. which is a part. Every one of our teachers will have a remind code for their classes. You may contact them through email. You may do it through a Teams call. Anything, they'll work out with you the best way to access them during office hours, but that is completely there to answer any kind of questions that you have. So it's, I missed the live session, and I want to make sure that I understand. I watched the class already, but I want to make sure I understand something, or it may be to catch up on a piece or a tutorial or anything like that. But it's office hours where every teacher is available to you. And so if you're not engaged in an office hour right at that time, that is something where you would be engaged in asynchronous learning at that time. You may be working on assignments. So now let's get to the new part. And this is different than what we did in the spring. So down here in the afternoon, we have what are called content hours. So let me tell you a little bit more about how those work and what we're hoping to accomplish with that. So under normal circumstances in a live setting, we have, this is one element of content hour, I'm sorry, is we have assigned testing days per week. So normally on Mondays is the English testing day, Tuesday social studies, Wednesday foreign language, Thursday math, Friday science. That's our normal circumstance. So what we wanted to do was to figure out, okay, so while we're in this virtual setting, what can we maybe do in this virtual setting that we could not do while we're physically here on campus? And so this content hour is what we're going to try. So essentially what can happen is, so let's say let's pick Thursday math. I was a math teacher, so I'm going to try Thursday math. So Thursday math at 3:10 from 4:10, that is the math content hour. So here are the kinds of things that may happen Thursday from 3:10 to 4:10. If you're in geometry, all the geometry teachers may say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and give our test. Maybe it's our 3-week test or anything like that. By putting the test into the afternoon during content hour, it frees us up that we're not wasting any time in the morning during those live sessions administering a quiz or a test. All right, so we thought instead of a teacher spending 5 periods giving each one of their 5 geometry classes a test, what happens if we just bring all of those kids together at the same time and offer the test at that time? So if geometry is testing 1 week, they may say everybody's going to show up at 3:10 on Thursday. Here's the Teams code. You're going to log in, and here's the assessment that you're going to take. And instead of us doing 5 sections of 30 kids for a teacher, we can do 150 kids at one time in 1 hour. We can do 550 kids if we want to do all of the geometry students. Whatever that may look like, we can do it all at one time in that afternoon. Another piece that can happen during content hour is if we want to bring in a speaker. So let's say in our forensic science class, which is a very popular science class, if we want to bring in a forensic pathologist or someone from the medical examiner's office, we can bring in that person instead of asking them to come 5 different times or log into a call 3 or 4 or 5 different times. We can say, you know what, you're going to come once, you're going to give a presentation, we're going to record it once, and all of the forensic science students can come. So maybe let's say 300 kids all come to that one single event. Is something that we can do. It's also a piece where we can pull together an assembly if we need to. During the first week, we have a few different events for freshmen, and we'll get that information out to you families before it happens. But we have a few different kind of what would be like grade level assemblies that will happen that first week. That will happen on Thursday when they meet their Cardinal Crew leader, and Friday when they have the club jamboree. We can do those in the hour. The content hour in the afternoon, especially the first week, because we won't have tests going and everything the first week. But we can pull together entire grade levels without having to pull them out of a class. We've got time in the afternoon to be able to do that. Another is that seniors, if I have any seniors on the call as well, Mr. Lee and Mr. Stewart from the College Center will be having a meeting for seniors about getting started on college applications. Financial aid, none of those processes stop just because we're in a virtual setting. So they want to make sure you're up and going. They would normally do that very early in the year. We're going to get that information out to our seniors, but we'll tell you, okay, during the afternoon, during this time, either at 2:10 or at 3:10, we're going to have an assembly for the seniors where you're going to log into this call and they're going to take you through information. Again, really driving this is what can we do in a virtual setting that we can't do physically? And, very often when you get put in these kind of opportunities, and I really do see them as opportunities, you get to try some things that are a little bit different and you get to innovate. You get to take something and make it better. And that's part of what we want to do. We want to make sure that the learning continues. All of our commitment remains None of that has been dwindled or lessened here at Bel Air High School to make sure that the experience that you signed up for, both an academic experience and a student life experience, that those remain strong. And while we're not physically together, we remain together as a community, and that has not changed. So we wanted to make sure that we were innovating in a way that we could push and see what we can do for kids to make the experience more powerful. And this has the support of our teachers as well. And then the last thing I'll say about the content hour is it also allows the students to organize their afternoon, and it allows the teachers to organize the afternoon with the students as well. Let me give an example. So let's say it's Tuesday and I'm a math teacher, and boy, I'd love to get some more time with my kids, but it's Tuesday, and at 3:10, that is the social studies content hour, which means I know that that is social studies time, and so I need to recognize that. And if I'm going to try and schedule a tutorial or schedule something with kids, I cannot do it from 3:10 to 4:10. All right, now if you look at the 2:10 to 3:10, Tuesday and Thursday, that's our CTE, so that's our Career and Technology program, as well as PE and Health. We probably won't use the PE and Health as much for content hours, but it will be used some. The CTE we need to make sure that we have, because in our Career and Technology programs, kids are often working towards certifications. And in order to be able to take the test for a certification, they have to have a certain amount of seat time or practice time, or what is called contact time. And so we need to make sure that we had enough minutes for that. And so with this, the 2 opportunities a week, it does allow for that. But if your child is not in a CTE or PE class, then on Tuesday from 2:10 to 3:10, they're in asynchronous learning. So they're working on other assignments, they're contacting their teachers. Maybe that's a great time because they are free during that time to be able to follow up with a small group tutorial or work with their teachers. But again, the kids know, okay, on Tuesday from 3:10 to 4:10, I need to make sure that I'm available so that I can do whatever my social studies teacher needs us to do. And each week, they will have something during that time. Whether it's for English, it could be a practice timed writing. It could be working on a test and assessment, bringing in a speaker, doing literature circles if they want to do that in terms of the independent reading that they've done. Our teachers will make use of that time each hour, but again, it allows the extension and allows us to do something that we couldn't do physically in the classroom. Let's share just a little bit more, and then I am going to go to some questions. On this website that takes you through a little bit of the virtual schedule. Also on this website, you'll see along the top here, there's some different elements. Let me start with the updates from Mr. McDonough. When you go to this page, let's say today is Tuesday, so by Thursday we should have the link to this video in case one of your friends missed it. They can make sure that they can come and watch it, or if you need to rewatch something again, or if you saw something and your kid didn't believe you, you want to show them, no, Mr. McDonough said grades and attendance count. You can go back to the video. Updates will be there, and making sure that that those are available for you. The resources, let me click over on that just real quick. That takes you through some of the district resources that exist. So that's the instructional continuity plan. And the parent introduction to virtual learning. If you have not taken this short, it's probably about 30 minutes total, class for parents on virtual learning, I really suggest that you do. They do a really good job of chunking the information. It's interactive through a few different videos and a few different interactive tools that they have, but it's definitely worth your time. Just if nothing else, just to let you know some of the words that are used and some of the vernacular and nomenclature and things like that. Grading and attendance, we did talk about the grading policy and attendance. This is from the instructional continuity plan for the district, and it'll take you through a little bit more of the details. But as I said, attendance and grading do count. How do I? This can be really powerful. This is a great section. How do I sign into my HISD email? This is a short 1 to 2 minute little screencast that'll take you through exactly how to do it with the task card right over here. How do I add a profile picture to my Microsoft 365? It defaults to your initials. Put a picture in there. It helps so that when your teacher's looking out and they don't just see initials, they can see some faces, especially as they're getting to know your names. That's going to be really helpful. And then how do I bookmark Microsoft 365? This takes you through what some of that looks like. It's a great shortcut to know so that you're all set. So these are some how do I's. We'll continue to add to these, but these are the ones that should be able to get you started at the beginning of next week. And then connecting, really important. You've got to make sure that you stay connected to us and in strong communication. Quick contacts if you're reaching administration, counselors, faculty, staff, special education, tech support, or our social worker. School-wide communications. If you have not signed up for these, our Cardinal e-news goes out to nearly 6,000 families every Friday afternoon. It's a great place to be able to get information. Not only do we share announcements and information, but we also brag there. You can see some of the great things happening that continue to happen for our kids, both on campus and off. If you want to look at our website, of course, join our Remind group. The codes are right down here for your kids. Seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. Just join this through your Remind code and you'll be all set. You'll receive our announcements. We've got, I think, over 4,000 different people that are signed up for that. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as well. So different ways that you can stay connected to us. We are committed to making sure that we have good information out there. There's lots of different ways that you can access it, and something that we're very proud of. Let me go back to the homepage and show you one other thing. Is that if you have searched this website and you've checked the connecting, how do I, grading and attendance, resources and updates, and you still can't figure out where something is, right down here. Can't find the answer you were looking for, click right here. It takes you to a form. You submit your question. It comes directly to me and another member of my leadership team, and we do respond to those. We generally respond pretty quickly, but we will get back to you with information. And it also helps us with, like, you know what, we keep getting that question. It's something we need to add to our website so that we're in good shape. So that's available to you here on our distancelearningbhs.com website. Again, you can access that directly off of our belair.org. At this time, I'm going to pause, take a drink of water, and then I'm going to ask my producer who's here to share with me a few of the big questions that have come up. Again, we will not answer every question tonight because I know that we've got lots and lots of families here with us, but we do in the past we've been able to commit to creating an FAQ that we do share where you're able to get a lot of things answered. So let me see what kind of questions have come up so far.
Where do I check my schedule?
Okay. Where do I check my schedule? All right, so that is something that we're going to share with you. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that as soon as we get to what happens September 8th and around the commitments that we make. So let me put a pause on that one. Where do you check your schedule? Because I will definitely answer that one for you. What else?
How do I apply to clubs?
How do I apply to clubs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is about clubs, if you're new to campus, our club Jamboree was part of the Cardinal Camp, but we will have that resource will be available on our website so that you can see. We had, I think, geez, oh goodness, maybe close to 50 different clubs that submitted videos that you could be able to access and learn more about individual clubs. But then also on our website is a club magazine. And let me see, is that something I can quickly access over here? Debbie?
Yeah, you're going to go to students.
Okay, let me go up here to students, and you can see right down here, there is the clubs 2019. And let me check to make sure that's it. So it's loading. This is really great. It's an entire magazine of all of our different clubs. So if you, as you click on it, you can make your way through the different clubs and see, let me see if, okay, it might be just me that, let me try this. So so you can click on it and, no. Anyway, I'll just scroll through, but you can click through it. It's a magazine, and you can go and you can click on different clubs and it'll take you through. So like here's one right here, like the African American Association. It'll tell you who the teacher is, how you contact them, the purpose of the club, at our meetings, outside our meetings. Is there anything else that you want people to know? Projects, approximate number of members, so you can get a lot of information. And so you can interact with this. It is a PDF, but it's also as a magazine. I think I just went to the wrong link. But if you go to our website under students and then clubs, you can learn about all this different information. And again, it has a different way for you to be able to contact them and be able to say, hey, I want to sign up. I want to learn more about this organization. When's the first club to meet? What else?
How do I know if it's an A day or a B day, and how does that work every other week?
Okay, so what we'll do is in the past, we've been able to on each day on this website, we'll say today is an A day or today is a B day. So if you're ever not sure, you can come to this website, distancelearningbhs.com, and it will be there for you to be able to find very quickly today is an A or a B day. We know it takes, you need to get in a rhythm, but just know that the first day of school is an A day and it just alternates from there. So even if, let's say, Friday was an A day, and the next week is, a Monday, and let's say it's Labor Day and we don't have school, then Tuesday would be a B day, and then A day, and then B day. It would just continue to alternate regardless of whether or not we have a holiday. It's always going to just alternate between A and B. Maybe get one or two more questions.
Textbooks. How do I know if I need a textbook?
So how do I know if I need a textbook? We will have on our website, and it'll come out through our Cardinal e-news also, is, and I think that we're committing to have that by Thursday, is that we'll be able to tell you, you'll be able to look and say, okay, these are the courses that I'm in, and this tells me whether or not I need a book. For freshmen, again, freshmen are the most important ones, just in terms of, because your book pickup is Friday. If you are taking pre-AP World Geography, we know that you definitely need to come and pick up a book. And then there's a few languages, I believe Hebrew, Arabic, and one other one that have that have a textbook for you to pick up as well. But we'll have that for you by Thursday so that you're able to look at that and be able to make your plans. But freshmen, again, if you've got pre-AP World Geography, you already know you're going to need to come on Friday. Another question?
Yes, football and sports and band and all that.
Okay, so all of our UIL activities. What I can tell you is that the UIL, which is the University Interscholastic League for the state of Texas, has already begun sports in many parts of Texas because they work with the entire state, of course. Beginning September 8th, so this Tuesday, the first day of school, our football, volleyball, cross country, and tennis teams will begin their seasons. And so they will have practice. Those coaches will be in contact with athletes about when those practices will be. They will not be during the school day. Our superintendent has been clear, and I support her on this, is that we will not have any kind of, normally if we were in person, you would have an athletics period. So it would be a class period during the day where you would be in your athletics class. We will not have that during virtual, because you have to imagine if you had athletics, let's say at fourth period or third period, it would be hard for you to be in virtual live session and then go to campus, be part of a sport, and then get back home for your live session. So that won't be the situation. They will only have practice before school or after school. What I will tell you is that football, the last couple of years, because of our construction, we've had to practice off-site. And so football has been in the morning. And so that I imagine that they're going to continue that. Cross country is always run in the morning. I'm a runner as well, and you don't want to run in the afternoon if you can help it. So I imagine, will continue to run in the morning. Tennis practices off-site at the LeClaire Tennis Center, so Coach Kirk will be able to share that information. And then volleyball, I believe, will be in the afternoon, I think is what Coach Blakeman has decided. But again, those coaches will be putting out that information as soon as possible. Kids who come to campus to partake in those activities will have to come through a specific entrance. They have to have a mask. If they don't have one, we will provide one. They will have their temperature taken, fill out a quick questionnaire just to make sure that they haven't had any symptoms. So go through a screening process and then follow specific guidelines from our district athletic department as well as UIL in terms of what the first week looks like, what conditioning looks like moving on into practice, how we can maintain social distancing yet still be able to participate in those sports. I do believe that they're having abbreviated seasons. Obviously, we're starting 2 weeks later, so it cuts into a little bit of the schedule, especially since other parts of the state have already begun their seasons. Band and other pieces like that, if you're in band, Mr. Waldemath, our band director, will be in contact. I do not believe that they will be competing as a marching band this year, but we will still continue to develop as musicians, and that's something that we're committed to. What football games look like and volleyball games and all the other sports that we'll head into further into the school year, I can't tell you exactly yet. With so many things involving the start of school, information continues to roll out. It rolls out sometimes very slowly and then sometimes very quickly and immediately. And so we're having to make sure that we get all of that, process it, and try to figure out the best way to make it work well for kids and for our faculty and staff. So that's something that we'll continue to work on and get you that information. But a lot of that will come from your program directors and or your coaches. One more question?
I think a lot of them you're going to
Okay.
address coming up. So.
Okay. So let's get to what happens September 8th, right? So that is what happens next. So first day of school, Tuesday morning, how do I get started? And here's what's great, is this is pretty much how you're going to start every morning, not just the first day of school. So the first thing you're going to do is log into the hub. Very first thing you want to do in the morning is log into the hub. You're going to go to courses. It's along the top menu, and you're going to check that, and your courses will show. You'll go to, so it'll say first period. You'll go to your first period class. You'll click on the calendar in the hub. It'll take you to the links for all of your classes if you have a Microsoft Teams meeting that day. So again, you log into the hub, you go to your courses, you'll find first period, then you'll go to your hub calendar, and you'll click on the first period. It'll give you a Teams link, and it'll take you into that Teams meeting. It's critically important that you are part of this, that you go through this path in order to be counted present. Okay, that's for those live sessions. You want to be counted present. So you're going to make sure that you want to go through this path into the hub, to your courses, to your calendar. That's the link to get into Teams because it counts you present. Just like when you get on a Metro bus and you've got your bus card, click, cling, you are present. When you check into a hotel and you've got your key to get into the room, it registers it digitally, click, cling, you're in. If you're going to work, your parents very often, they'll come somewhere, they'll wave their badge or they'll use a time clock or whatever it may be. They're counted presence. That's how it works. So that's why it's so important that you do that on Monday or Tuesday, September 8th. And it's really the best way to start every single day because every day begins with live sessions where you're going through the hub, you're interacting with Microsoft Teams. I want to go back because I did forget something just real quick that I want to go over on the website. Let me go back here. If you'll just humor me for a second. On the distance site, I talked about how you'll be marked present if you come to any one of the live sessions, periods 1 through 7. Between those live sessions, so those end at 12:20 and let's say into your office hours. Now, if you miss something, but you interact with the teacher, okay, so let's say you missed the live session for some reason, and you interact with the teacher, so maybe it's an email exchange that you have, maybe you call into Teams and you have a meeting with her, let's say during office hours. That is another way that you can be counted present, okay? So there's two things. There's your attendance piece, and then there's your grades and your achievement. What I'm just talking about now is attendance. The best way for you to achieve at the levels that you want is to be where you need to be on time, and that's in your live sessions with the teacher, getting it first, getting it early, and being able to ask your questions right then. If for some reason on a particular day you're not able to do that, then if you come during office hours or you come during your content time and you interact with the teacher and you're present and you're a part of that, that's another way that the teacher can count you present. Okay, so that's the second way. The first is come to the live session, go through the hub, click on your calendar, click on the link, you're in the team session, you are counted present. The second is to interact with the teacher during either office hours or Cardinal hour or the content hour, and having a connection with them during that daytime if you miss the live session. Okay, so that's your backup. The final piece, if for some reason on a particular day, this is not the optimal way to do it, but we know that some things will come up and you may have to do this on occasion. If you miss the live session and you're not able to interact with the teacher from 4:10 until 11:59 p.m. that night, you have an opportunity to log in and complete the assignment. If you do that before 11:59 p.m. that night, then you will be counted present. Okay, we'll get a report the next day that says, okay, at 11:50 they turned in their homework, they got it in. Yes, they weren't able to make the live session, they weren't able to interact before that, but they used their time well in the afternoon. They went to the hub, watched the video, got the assignment, completed it, and submitted it before 11:59. So one of those three ways is how you can be counted present for the day. So I just wanted to make sure that I was clear about that because I wanted to explain what that would look like throughout the daily part of, through a typical day. I didn't want to miss that because I know that that's important, especially since attendance counts. Achievement, how well you do in the class, you need to be where you need to be. You need to be in the live sessions. You need to make use of the office hours for follow-up tutorials. You need to be at the content hours, hitting all of those expectations for your teachers so that you are as prepared as possible. We spread out the content hours so you can focus each day on a specific subject. But you do those 3 pieces and your achievement's going to take care of itself. Not only will your attendance be okay, but your achievement's going to be in great shape and you're going to do well and perform like we know that you want to. All right, so let me go back now. So here's parents, what we need from you, okay? And we need your help. All right, so this is some of the things that you can do. The first is complete the Bel Air student survey. Now we've had over 2,000 people go ahead and complete it already. So if you have not, it was just a quick question asking if you had connectivity, if you'd already picked up your device, and then if you have any family needs that you may have, whether it's food or supplies or anything like that. If you have not completed that survey, please go ahead and make sure you do that. Again, that is information. We want to make sure that we can support you and that you're in good shape and that you have what you need when school begins and into the school year. So please, if you haven't done that, please make sure that you do that. It is on our website. Join the Class Remind group. You guys have been fantastic about getting in and joining those. If you have not, please make sure that you join those Remind groups because that's a way. We don't abuse it. We don't send out tons of information, but we know getting it straight onto your phone is a way that you get relevant information very quickly and you can act on it. Again, we won't abuse it. I promise you on that. We're mindful of how often we send things. There's usually a lot at the beginning of the school year because we got a lot to tell you. But as we move through it, it's usually just during different times when things are going to happen or when you need to know about something that's coming up, or if there's a freshman parent meeting, some things like that. So again, really please join that. Report any tech needs that you have using the tech support form on the website. If you just go right into the middle, it's a tech support form. If it's not working, if it's not charging, or there's just something weird happening, Mr. Paniagua and Mr. Scarrow are 2 technologists. They monitor and manage that support form very quickly. A lot of it they can walk you through a call. Otherwise, they'll have you come up and they can reset it here, but they've got a whole process where they're able to. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing where they can support you because now more than ever, we know how important your tech needs to be so that you can stay caught up and hit all those expectations. Establish a daily routine. Okay, your kids are going to develop so many soft skills as well as just executive functioning skills during this time, self-regulation, helping them establish a daily routine. Parents, as best you can, try to help them find a spot where they can kind of check in. This is where I'm going to come and do school. Okay, it's easy. My kids did it where they were like, no, I'm just going to do it on my bed. And maybe that works for some of them, but for others of your kids, that's not going to be as good a match. Try to get them a specific space where they can come, because here's the thing that also happens, and I've learned, and probably a lot of you that have worked from home a lot over the number of months, is the more that you let school or work be completely in your own personal space, so like your bed or in your bedroom or anything like that, those lines get blurred and it's hard to separate that. And I know for myself working, there are times where I need to get up and leave work for a few minutes and go be dad or be husband or go for a run or something like that. But if all of that is kind of in the same exact space, it's harder to keep that separated. I know that not everybody has that option. I shared a room with my brother, so that wouldn't have worked in a virtual setting growing up. But where you can, I think that that's a great piece to also establish. The other thing, parents, I would say, is please allow your kids to engage in the live sessions without a lot of other people in their presence. So let me give an example is if they're engaged in the live session and you're sitting next to them, or you're kind of just conspicuously walking around or just kind of so you can keep a tab on things, really is important for high school kids to begin. Let them go ahead and do some of this on their own. Everything is being recorded, so if anything, you worry about anything, seeming a little strange, it's all being recorded, so we're going to be able to make sure that that's all okay. But it's really important for them to be able to feel like they can fully participate in the conversation or in the lesson. If they break out into a smaller group, we want them to feel like they can really participate. They don't know, especially our freshmen, but all of our kids, they don't know the kids in their class. When we did this in March, they'd been with those kids since August. So the relationships were built, people knew each other. We're having to establish all of that, and your child's going to be a lot more able to do that if they feel like that they can completely invest in it and be themselves and build that relationship. Again, I know depending on your settings, not everything is always possible. There's lots happening. You may be working from home, multiple kids, all of that. I'm not saying these are rules that you have to follow or anything like that. These are suggestions, things that I think that you can try to do as best you can that fits your setting that I think will help your kids be successful. And then please communicate, communicate, communicate. Okay, when, not if, but when you start to have technical glitches, you can't upload some work, you're having trouble with the hub, you're not being able to log in, make sure that you communicate. We are giving a lot of grace and working wonderfully with our teachers. Our teachers are going to be able to do that with you as well. What we're about to do, no one has ever done, ever, in terms of starting a school year in this setting, and having it count and be accountable in all these pieces. So that's why I say when, not if, but when you have some hiccups, communicate, communicate, communicate. Contact the teacher. That's always your first place to start. If it needs to be the counselor or an assistant principal or myself or whoever, just make sure that you reach out so that you aren't hanging out there alone and your child's not floundering and not getting support and you're worried about it. Let us know. Let us make sure that we can reach out. We want to do that. That's what we are investing in, is why we stay committed as educators to make sure that your kids are taken care of. So please, we need you to make sure that you communicate with us. And when things are going great, because a lot's going to go really great, send a teacher an email just saying, you know what, my kid just won't stop talking about how great your class is. It seems so organized, everything's on top of it. I really appreciate what you're doing, because our teachers are trying a big lift, and they have spent so much time and energy making sure that they are learning as much as they can. Some of the technology and the tools come very easily to them, and then others are, making their way and learning as much as they can so that they can provide a powerful experience for their kids. I've said many times that Bel Air, I used to say that it doesn't matter. You can put Bel Air in a beautiful building, an ugly building. You just give them kids in front of them and four walls, and they're going to be okay. Well, I have to change that now, because they don't have kids right in front of them. They'll have them on a screen, and they don't necessarily even need walls anymore, but they still can do magic, and that's what our teachers are committed to. We have an amazing faculty, and they're going to be able to do that. So if you want to reach out and thank them as well, that would be terrific. It's always appreciated. But make sure that you're communicating to us, with us. Okay, so now let me talk a little bit about some of the commitments that I want to make sure that you hear kind of from us. A couple different things that you can count on from me and from Bel Air is that by Sunday afternoon, we will email you your child's schedule. So your child's schedule will be sent to their HISD email account. We're doing that Sunday afternoon. Remember, Monday is not school, so they've got time to process that. But our commitment is to have that in your HISD email inbox by Sunday afternoon. Our counselors are charged with making sure that the schedules have been finalized. We know that a lot of you can see them now. You've submitted schedule change request forms electronically, and that's great. We do those and we put out those schedules as a draft. That's our dress rehearsal, where we take the information, we put it into our system, we run our master schedule, it loads all the kids, and then we see how well it worked. For the most part, it works very well, but sometimes some things change and we need to make tweaks, and that's okay. So if you saw something, please don't panic. And if you haven't submitted a schedule change request form because you haven't checked your HISD email, or your parent hasn't logged into the parent portal, let me be more clear about that, because it's not in your HISD email yet. But if the parent has logged into their parent portal, has set up that account, then they can see the schedule. And so if you see something that looks off, contact your counselor. But there's a schedule change request form. You fill that out, you identify your counselor on that form, and it'll take them through, and they'll see and begin to make those changes. But our charge is that by the end of the day on Friday, that those are all complete, ready to go for the first day of school. So that gives us 24 hours for those to process in our system, and then gives us some time Sunday morning to get all those emails lined up, to get those out to our HISD email. Again, those will go to your student's HISD email account. If they don't know how to check that, I showed you on the distance learning website, How Do I? And it takes you right where that email is. It's really important that they begin to learn how to use that HISD email account, because it is the best way for us to send things electronically, because we know those are all set up by HISD. It's based on their student ID number, so it's unique to them. We can do mail merge and shoot all those out, just like we did with your parent portal letters, so that parents could set those up. So if you haven't charged your child yet, or for kiddos on this call, make sure that you get strong about routinely checking your HISD email account, especially once school starts. But that's where your schedule will be. And then the other piece that I want to make sure is that you can count on another town hall meeting for me as we get a little bit further into September, once we know what the process looks like, should we, if and when we return to having students on campus. My understanding from our superintendent at this point, and I agree with her, is that families will have the option of choosing whether or not they want to return live on campus or whether or not they want to stay in a virtual setting. And we know that we're going to have families for different reasons make different choices. And so what will likely happen is we'll have some kind of hybrid. I don't know exactly what that'll look like yet, because I don't need to know exactly what that'll look like yet. That is the earliest that will begin is October 19th. So we're in this virtual setting until October 16th. My focus and the focus of my team and my faculty and staff has been, we've got to get this heavy lift up and make sure that school starts in a strong way and in a powerful way and in a smooth way September 8th, this Tuesday, for your kids and for our families. And so that's where our focus has been. The other piece is that the district has not fully communicated yet what that will look like, how you will make your selection, when you have to make it by. That's why you can count on me that once that process has been developed by HISD, then I will have a town hall meeting similar to this. We'll get it out with lots of communication to you, explaining what that process looks like, what the timeline looks like, and also sharing what it could look like here on campus. And then helping you with some ideas around if your kiddo has these characteristics or these traits or is pulled in these different ways, whether a virtual or a live session may be better, or a live in-person setting may be better for them, whichever one might be. We want to make sure you have good information before you make that selection. Right now, the district is looking that you'll be able to make that commitment based on every 6 weeks, but that could change also depending on what the outlook looks like for the city of Houston and what decision HISD makes in terms of whether or not we will return October 19th. I think the superintendent was correct in taking a conservative approach by having us start in a virtual setting for the first 6 weeks. I know not all districts have done that, and I know not everybody necessarily agrees with that, but I think it was the prudent thing to do, and we're ready for it, and that's what's most important. And so we'll be in that for 6 weeks, and we'll see what the decision is moving forward from that. But the commitment, again, for me, is that once we know what that process looks like and we're ready to communicate, we will have a town hall meeting so that you get that information. The analogy I use, or a similar situation that I would reference, is with our bond project. And some of you have been with us for a long time, and you know that I've been talking about our HISD bond project since September of 2013. 7 years that we've been talking about it, and we still have a couple more years to go, but we are getting there. But what is most important, and what I said from the get-go, is that if you don't see something in writing from me, or you don't believe, or you don't hear it directly from me, don't presume that it's accurate. There's lots of information flying around now. There's lots of different phone calls that go out, or I heard that you got to choose this, or this form went out, or this school said this, or they're doing this in another district. Everybody's trying to get information. Everybody's trying to make the best decisions with the best information. If you're not sure and you feel like you've heard it from somebody, and boy, they usually are pretty reliable and they get good stuff, check with us. Go through the website like I showed on the distance learning. Hey, I don't see something here. Send a question that way, or send an email directly to me. This is what I'm hearing. What can you tell me? Because I will clear up any misinformation. I'll either tell you that it's not accurate, or I'll tell you that it's incomplete, or I'll tell you that it is accurate, and here's how we're addressing it, and here's what you need to know. Okay, that's a commitment that you can always count on from me. So 2 things. Sunday afternoon, your schedule will be in your HISD email account. Now, there may still be something that's missing or wrong on it. There's a schedule change process for that. We'll go through, but it should be complete. It should be accurate and ready to go. But you'll have that Sunday afternoon, and then again, the other commitment, the town hall meeting, strong communication from us, making sure that that continues. So let me get a few more questions before we wrap up. Again, an FAQ we will develop. Today is Tuesday. We'll shoot to try to have that out to you by Friday as well. That covers a lot of the questions that have not already been answered. But let me see what has arisen at this time.
September the 8th, we go straight to first period.
So September 8th, do we go straight to first period? Yes. You will at 8:30 a.m. You'll be expected to be in the Teams call for your first period class. So again, log into the hub, go to your courses, go to your calendar, and then click the Microsoft Teams link, and you'll be in first period. Be there by 8:30, and you'll be ready to go. And the teachers will take you through what the rest of the day looks like, and all of that. Some of those first day forms and packets and all of that, we'll get more information out to you about what that looks like. Kids, for years, if you're a senior, then for this would have been your 13th year, 12th or 13th year, to fill out those ADA cards, those color-coded cards. We're not doing that this year. We can't bring a card to you. So it's going to be through a different format. We'll take you through all of that, but at 8:30, Tuesday, September 8th, you need to be in first period.
A lot of questions. Can you walk them through the process for submitting a course request change?
Let me see if I can do that. This is lots of questions on how do I submit a course request change. Let me see how good I'm doing down here. Is that going to be in students, or where is that at?
You have a homepage with you,
Okay. It is course change. So I'm here on the bellaire.org website, and I scroll down and you'll see in the center column, now there's a lot of stuff here: new student laptop, important back to school survey I referenced earlier, Cardinal Camp is open that I talked about, and then of course the update tonight. But right down here is a course change request form. So you would click on that. It takes you through some of the different things that you need to know. So read through those. We're not switching periods, just it gives you some things. Here are some good reasons to request a schedule change. So you can go through what some of these look like. Right here, this big button in the middle, course change request form, and you'll click on that. I won't go through all of it, but you can see here your first and last name, your email. HIST email is a great one to use so that you can get in the habit of checking that regularly. Your student ID number, very important. Grade level, choose your counselor. So they're all listed right here. Of course, our counselors are based on your last name. And what type of schedule change do you want to make? Is it a course change? So that is something like, I'm in environmental science and I am supposed to be in physics. Okay, so completely different course. I'm in ROTC and I'm supposed to be in Spanish. Okay, something like that. So completely different course. A level change is something like, I'm in pre-AP and I want to be in college prep. I'm an academic, but I want to go to AP, stuff like that. So that's a level change. So it's within the same course. So if maybe I'm in academic world history, but I wanted to be in AP world history. They're both still world history. You're just changing the level. Course change again. I'm supposed to be in Spanish, but I'm in Chinese. Something like that. That's a completely different course. So you would click, I'm not going to fill all this out because it's required. You would go to next, and it'll take you through the next steps there. But that's how you can start the course change request. Again, that's on our website, this big red button right here in the middle, and it's on the center column of our website, bellaire.org, right here in the middle, course change request form. Great question. I'm glad you asked that.
All right. PSAT, SAT.
PSAT and SAT, yes. And good, I don't have the exact date. It is in October. The district is providing an SAT, an in-school SAT with support of College Board that is free for all of our seniors. They were not able to take it, and normally that would be in their junior year in late March, early April of their junior year. They were not able to take it this last spring, so they have a senior SAT that will be in October. On that same day, we will host the PSAT for 10th, and I shouldn't say we will. The PSAT will be hosted, to be determined on exactly how, but that will be hosted for our 11th graders, which is when they can qualify for national merit. Also our 10th graders, and then the 9th graders also take the PSAT. It's a different PSAT than the 10th and 11th, but it is a PSAT. So everybody, normally that would have been just grades 9 through 11. It'll be 9, 10, and 11, and then the seniors with the SAT. But we'll get you that exact date. I want to say October 24th, but don't quote me on it, but it is in October.
Okay, a lot of questions. Just to reiterate about where they find their access codes. Talk about it being parents right now, and they're asking, will students have their own login for Powerschool?
Okay, so questions about the parent portal. So let's answer that part first. So there's two parts to it. So all of our students who were registered as and enrolled into our school as of, I think, last Friday, should have received in their HISD email account, the student HISD email account, a document that includes that it gives directions for parents to set up their portal account, and it gives a unique ID code and a unique password to open that account. And we know that we've had a few families that couldn't find it, or maybe it didn't get there yet or anything like that. We've been able to address that, but we've only had probably a couple dozen where we've gotten that back, and we know that we've had more than a few thousand that have been able to receive that and set that up. But it went into your child's HISD email account. So if they haven't checked that yet, great time again for them to begin to learn to check that regularly, their HISD email account. If you are newly registered, then we will be able to provide, we'll provide that by Friday, the way for you to be able to get that information, because it's a different process for us to be able to do that, but we'll get that. I'm going to write that down right now to make sure. Now, the other part of the question was, what about students? Will they have their own access to Powerschools to be able to look at their grades and all of that? Yes, they will. And I covered this a little bit earlier, but you may have come in a little late, and that's fine. Happy to present it again. Is that students, yours will go live September 8th. So it'll go live the first day of school. Now your login is just your normal login when you would log into your into the hub, into your laptop, anything like that. So yours is the exact same login that you're using right now with your laptop. So that's easier. You don't have to get a unique code and everything like that. So that'll be easy, but yours will go live Tuesday, September 8th. I apologize.
What if you have like 2 math classes or 2 science classes? How will content hour work?
Sure, great question about content hour. So if I'm down here, what if I have 2 math classes? I'm taking AP Stats and I'm taking pre-calculus. What that's just going to have to work out is with those teachers. We know that that's not common. We do have some kids who do that each year, but it's not all of our kids. And what our teachers are already prepared to do is to work that out in terms of maybe they'll have to either they'll share you or they'll extend the time. Maybe they'll use some of office hours. Maybe they'll have you do something asynchronously. So like in a later part of the day, or if you don't, let's say you have, so let's look as I look at my, if you were to look on Thursday, the math content hours at 3:10. Before that is CTE and health. Maybe you don't have a CTE or health class, so you don't have to use that content hour for that. So your math teachers would work with you and use that in another time. Our teachers know that we've got some kids in that situation. It tends to happen in math. It happens with our foreign languages for our magnet students, or for others who take 2 languages for at least 1 year. And then sometimes it happens in science as well. Less often in English because we generally take English 1, 2, 3, and 4. A little bit in social studies if you move into AP Euro history, or if you're taking AP government and AP economics at the same time. So we do know that we have some circumstances with that, but our teachers will be flexible with you and work with you on that. Let's see if we can get maybe 2 more questions.
Just to reiterate, a lot of questions about virtual coming back. I think you don't know the answers to those questions yet. Just a lot of questions about how all that works, and if they're getting phone calls from HISD asking them if they want to be virtual, or there's just some confusion. So
some questions about when do I have to decide? How do I decide? What do I need to think about what happens after we allow students to come back to campus? Okay, so what I do know is that I believe at some point last week there were some phone calls that went out to some families that just through the phone call seemed to indicate, would you send your child back if they were in a live session? You know, if they were allowed to come back to campus, would you send your child back? What I know is that I don't think any of those phone calls were included anything that was specific to a school. I know that no data from those calls was shared with the campuses. I think it was just an effort from the district to get a little bit of a sense, a quick snapshot of, if we called and we spoke to 1,000 people and, 400 of them said that they would come back, then maybe we're just thinking 40% maybe is going to come back. I think it was just an effort to get a snapshot. It was nothing binding, I can tell you that for sure. And that's why my commitment is that once the more developed process that HISD will use is in place, then we will make sure that we're fully informed about that. We'll set up an opportunity to get that communication out to you, whether it's a town hall meeting. It will include a town hall meeting, but then it will also include other pieces in writing so that you can make sure that you can review all of the information, ask your questions, and then be able to make the decision that you want to make. The other part I know is that the district may have been wanting to get that information, but that was almost nearly 2 months before we even can come into the building. So it's that the district has the challenge of trying to have families make that decision, but to try to make it where they have the best information. So you want to make it early enough for schools to plan, but not too early to where things can really change very drastically. The district has a challenge in that as well. And like I said, none of us have ever done this before. So I can't tell you exactly what it's going to look like when we come back to school. If we have 90% of our kids come back to campus with social distancing that has to be in place, that limits the number of people that are in a classroom, we've got to figure out how to run that schedule. And it may be that kids come on different days. There's an A day schedule, a B schedule, a C schedule. I don't know. It could depend. We may have 90% that want to stay virtual, in which case we have to tweak it in a different way. If it's 50-50, then we've got to come up with that plan. What I know is that is work that is in front of us. It's work that we will commit to do and we'll do in a strong way. We have lots of smart people on the team, and we think things through and make things work for Bel Air families. As you know, that's part of why you choose to trust your kids with us. However, what I know is coming up most immediately is Tuesday, September 8th. And we've got to make sure, and our focus has been to make sure that we get that lift up, that kids know where they're going, they know how to engage, that our teachers are ready, that they feel confident, and that the kids feel confident. And so that beginning Tuesday, September 8th, we can start building those relationships. We are so desperate to see kids again and interact with kids. And I know that kids want to interact with adults outside of their home and interact with their friends. And even if it's through a virtual setting, we're all craving it so much that if that's what we can get right now, then that's what we can get right now. But I can tell you that first week, we're going to be focused on making sure not only getting school up and going, but that we start to connect with kids and make sure that they feel confident, that they feel prepared, and that they have confidence in us, and making sure that we're going to be ready as well. The commitment that we have to having a powerful experience for Bel Air students is unchanged, and we want to make sure that that continues. And so I don't have all of that information as to what it's going to look like, but I promise you, as we get closer, we will communicate that to you. That's a commitment that I made, and you can hold me to.
Mr. McDonough, there are some questions if they're having trouble when they're logging into their parent account, if it's saying that it's disabled or there's a problem with their login. They need to reach out to the service desk at HoustonISD.org. We don't have the ability to reset those.
So if some families we know are having troubles with the parent portal in terms of saying the account may have been disabled or anything like that, what we'll do is we'll make sure there is an HISD help desk that monitors. They open a ticket and then they can resolve those things. We don't have the ability on campus to be able to reset anything, but what we'll do is we'll make sure that that contact information, a simple email address for you, we'll make sure that we have that on our website so that you can, if you're having that issue, that we can direct you to that.
I think we can probably categorize the rest of them in an FAQ. There's a number of questions, but
we know we've got a lot of different questions, but some of them are very specific. We try to make sure that we hit the ones that were kind of the big topics. But please, what I would ask you to do as we wrap up is, if you, again, go to the Bel Air website, right in the middle at the top is the distancelearningbhs.com website. Swing over to it on the home page for there. Connecting, how do I, grading and attendance resources and updates. This presentation is being recorded. It will be loaded on the updates from Mr. McDonough. It takes about 24 hours to process. So I would expect for it to be up there ready to go by Thursday, if not by Friday. We'll also try and create an FAQ from the questions and share that on Friday as well. But this is a great place for you to be able to get information while we're in this virtual setting. We're anxious to start school and start to connect and build those relationships with kids. We miss the kids. We desperately, desperately do. I thank you for spending a little bit of time tonight. I hope that I was able to answer some questions. I know I was not able to answer all of them, but I hope that you've got a little bit to at least get started, to feel confident with getting your kiddos started for September 8th, making sure that they're ready. Everybody starts in first period at 8:30 that morning. Again, on that distance learning website at the very bottom, if you can't find the answer you're looking for, ask it there. That comes to us and we do respond to those. Stay connected with us, join the Remind groups, check us out on social media. If you don't get the Cardinal e-news every Friday, please sign up for that. It's the best. All those different ways are ways that we communicate. We make sure that you stay informed. Part of what is so important in the transition to high school, but while you're in high school, is that you feel safe, that you feel informed, and that you feel connected. Safe, informed, and connected. We can do everything to make sure that we're providing the information. You've got to access it, but we can get it to you. We provide lots of different ways with the different clubs and the teachers and just all the different organizations to be connected, and then making sure that you're safe. And right now you're in your home, and I hope that that's a safe place for you. And then we'll continue to make sure, as we're in this virtual setting, that we're practicing safe habits anytime that we need you to come to campus or to pick up anything. And then when we get you back on campus, we will have safety protocols in place to make sure that kids remain safe and that you're confident in Bel Air High School and in the Houston Independent School District. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Again, by Friday, you can look for a lot more of this information to come out, both in writing and in the video. Please share with your friends. I hope that you got some good information here and that you're ready to go. And we look forward to school starting for the 2020-21 school year, Tuesday, September 8th. Please be safe. I hope that you and those you love remain safe and healthy. Thank you and good night. See you guys.